When you skip this cutscene though, here's where the boss fight starts. And this boss fight actually makes up like half of the entirety of Reflection. So it definitely takes a lot of practice. I actually find this part a little easier than the rest of Reflection, just because there isn't quite as much feather maneuvering you have to do. But this part is very cycle based, and you need to have a lot of consistency with your speed. So if you did the Kevin boost, you can skip the cutscene and it'll launch you right into Battlein. Otherwise, if you don't have all that speed, you're going to want to hyper into her here, and then you're going to want to dash forward. And dashing forward will land you on the ground, and then you want to dash jump to that platform, and then dash upright to Battlein. And if you're too slow, you won't quite make it, so... You can also just jump and then dash straight to Battlein. That also works. Oh yeah, and if you hit retry at the exact same moment that you'll hit Battlein, you'll notice I just made the sound glitch up, so that's pretty funny. But you can do that, dash jump to the platform, and then dash upright into Battlein. You can also, if you do it just right, you can dash down right to the platform, and that makes the dash jump a little easier. But you'll notice you have to cancel out that recoil momentum at pretty much as soon as possible in the moment, or else you hit the spikes. So I did it right just there, but it's kind of inconsistent, so you need, like, you can't mash to get this recoil cancel. You pretty much have to time it to get it consistently, and it's kind of hard to do. Also, if you dash down or down right into the ground and try to immediately input a dash jump, there's a little kind of glitch with this game that causes you to hyper instead of dash jumping, so you need to pause a moment before dash jumping, like a very brief moment. Like, you just have to not dash jump on the first possible frame. If you dash jump even on the second frame, you'll get the dash jump, and then you can land on that platform and get out. But I'd recommend just dashing forward, and then the easiest way is just to jump and then dash upright, and you'll go over that fireball. But then after hitting Battlein, you want to cancel the recoil by dashing down right. And with that one, like pretty much with all of the recoil cancels, you can either time them or you can mash to exit the recoil. And in most cases, either one will work. But in some cases, you might want to choose to time it instead of mashing. But you want to dash down right and then fast fall. You can dash forward into Battlein while you're falling. Of course, I accidentally delayed a little, so I missed her. But if you're falling, you can fall forward and then dash straight into Battlein without having to hit the ground. From death, you just want to extend a hyper and then dash upright. But the next thing you want to do is you want to cancel the recoil by dashing down, and then you want to dash jump to this platform here. And then you can either jump and then dash upright, and if you do it correctly, you'll hit Battlein. Like that, you can like extended dash jump off the platform, and then extended dash jump off the next platform if you time it right. Like that. Or you can even extended hyper off that second platform, and then wall boost off this right wall. There are lots of different ways to do it. I think the fastest way actually involves a corner boost, where you corner boost off of that corner and then dash up into Battlein. I accidentally dashed up right, but it still worked. But regardless of which one you want to do, you then want to cancel the recoil and dash forward to this platform. And then from here, you can just hyper to Battlein. If you land on the left side of this platform, you can extended hyper and then ultra into her, but it's barely faster, so probably just hyper. And then you want to dash down here, you want to hyper bunny hop into Battlein, and then dash upright, and then you want to dash forward again, do another hyper bunny hop, and then dash up into her. So you want to dash up into her there, and then dash down right. From here, you can't get enough distance to just dash forward into Battlein. So you're going to want to take that spring there. So the moment you enter this room, I suggest dashing down right to get to the ground as fast as possible. The ground to the left of the spring. And then dash either forward into the spring or hyper into the spring. And then it's a little faster to dash up into Battlein instead of waiting for the spring to carry you into her. And from here, if you again time the dash correctly, you can dash down right to this platform, but it's a little safer just to dash forward and then fast fall to it. And after you land on this platform, you can then just jump and dash up right into Battlein. From this vehicle, though, you definitely want to dash down right to land on the blue platform directly below me. And then you can hyper to battle in or extended hyper and dash forward. And then you can either dash forward to this wall or dash upright into this wall, but then you want to... dashing upright, I think, is a little faster because you land higher on the wall. But there's this really silly mistake I sometimes do when I dash upright where I accidentally go under battle in somehow. But I just find it more consistent to dash forward, so you can pick which one you want. But from this recoil, you want to dash down right again and then hyper off this platform. And I don't know what went wrong there, so I'm going to redo this soon. So you want to hyper off there and then hit battle in, and then you can dash down right out of the room. If you're too slow climbing that wall, those blocks will start to fall before you can hyper off that block. So you want to climb up the wall as quickly as possible. And that's another situation where dashing upright to get higher on the wall might help you out a little. So you want to dash down right out of here. Again, if you dash forward from high enough, you can just get straight to battle in. Otherwise, you want to dash forward and jump up this wall to get to her. And then you want to dash forward here, hyper, and when you hyper off of that platform, you need to immediately, you want to do a short hyper first of all, so you start falling as soon as possible. And you want to also fast fall and move to the left to try and cancel out some of your momentum. Because otherwise you'll overshoot battle in. So, I do it again. You want to hit battle in, and then you want to dash down left to this platform. And then you want to hyper to the right. You can also reverse wave dash off of it, but I don't think that's faster. And it doesn't matter if you get your dash back or not from here, because you can just bunny hop off that crumble block and then dash into battle line. And then from here, it's just another down right, hyper bunny hop, upright. And then when you dash down right from here, you'll probably end up brushing against the left side of the hole that battle line makes. In which case, you'll get your dash back, so you just want to dash straight down into the transition if that happens. Dash straight down into the transition. And then from here, you want to fast fall and kind of land on the middle of that green platform right there. If you're too far right, this next hyper bunny hop might be a little difficult to position. So you want to kind of land on the middle of this platform, like right here. And then you want to hyper bunny hop off that platform over there, and then dash upright into battle in. And you might want to try just buffering a corner boost just in case you brush against this corner down here so that you don't accidentally lose your momentum. So you don't have to corner boost there, and it doesn't matter if you do or not, but sometimes if you're too low, you'll hit that wall. And so just buffering the corner boost is just kind of a safety. I think you can also extend a hyper and then ultra off that green platform, but... yeah, you can, or no, you can't ultra, but you can extend a hyper and wave dash off that platform, but I don't think it's faster because the wave dash doesn't give you as much height. You can dash forward after hitting battle in here, but it's easy enough to dash down right to this platform as long as you mash. Like, you can mash, and even if you don't quite make it onto the platform, you can hop up onto it, but you want to hyper into the next room and then be ready to dash up right. And the next room is very cycle-based, so I'm going to have to just go through it on my own and then explain it. So this is kind of the slow strat for it. And then I'll explain the fast strat as well. Basically, you need to try to weave your way around those fireballs as much as you can. And there's one version that uses a wall boost and one that doesn't. There's one that waits a cycle. But I think you should be able to do it without having to wait a cycle like I did that first time. So you can do that if you wall jump. So the moment you hyper into this room, you want to dash up right, and then do 2 wall jumps to go over the first set of fireballs. And then after you pick up that crystal, you want to wall boost off the right wall. And that wall boost is pretty difficult to line up. So if you have trouble lining up the wall boost, you can dash up right to here, jump up once, and then you'll have to do 2 wall jumps to avoid the fireball at the end. But when you hit battle in at the end of this room, I can show you the death cycle as well. In the death cycle, you aren't going to be able to get past this fireball, so you want to wait and then jump between these. And then you can just climb the right wall. After hitting battle in here, you want to dash down right, and you're going to brush along this platform, so you want to dash straight down to start fast falling as soon as possible. And I accidentally hit this platform, so you want to dash down a little later. But from here, You want to either wave dash or extended hyper off this platform, dash down right onto this platform, and then hyper to Battlein. And I dashed down right a little too late, so it caused me to dash off the platform. And then you can try to wall boost off this blue wall over here. But it's a pretty hard wall boost to line up, and if you wall boost too quickly, you'll bonk your head on the bottom of these falling blocks. Like that. So if you have trouble doing the wall boost, and I can almost never get that wall boost correctly, so what you can do instead is just dash up and then wall jump off the wall. And you want to try and land on this tallest falling block before it hits the ground, and that'll let you dash jump all the way to Battlein. If it goes all the way to the ground, you need to make sure you get full height out of the dash jump, but you should be able to pretty consistently land on this block before it hits the ground. So like even if it's just like a block above the ground, you'll get enough height out of the dash jump. And you don't need to wall boost, you can just dash up and wall jump off that wall on the left, yeah, on top of it. But you want to dash down right out of this room. From here, there are a lot of different strats for this room, so I'll go for most of them. The first one, which is kind of the easiest strat, involves either wave dashing off of this platform on the this leftmost platform, or wave dashing or extended hyper dashing off the slightly lower platform on the right, and then you want to dash upright and then climb up that wall in order to hit Battlein. So you can do that. If you time the upright dash correctly, you can get a corner boost into Battlein. So you can aim for that if you want, but you usually won't get it. So you can extend it hyper off of here to go into Battlein, or you can extend it hyper off of here. And then if you fall low enough, you can dash to Battlein. Another method to getting to Battlein, which is slightly faster, involves an ultra under the block. So what you need to do is you need to extend it hyper off of here, ultra to that low bottommost green platform down there, and actually go under the green block next to Battlein so you can dash up into her. Like that. And that's the fastest way to hit Battlein. So those are just a few different methods to hit Battlein at the first part. And then this part is where the strat really starts to deviate, because most strats will involve dashing down right to this block. And then there's one strat that uses the feather, and there's one strat that where you ultra pass the feather. So using the feather is like the easiest method, where you dash down right into the block, hyper into the feather, and then just take it straight into Battlein. And then you want... I don't know how that happened. But you want to dash into Battlein at the end, because it's slightly faster than taking the feather all the way to her. And if you just keep taking the feather in a straight line, Battlein won't hit you. So you don't need to be afraid of the laser. Because you'll see the laser lags behind once she starts aiming it. A slightly faster way to get out of the feather is to either wave dash, dash jump, or demo dash hyper off of this platform below me. And I think doing the wave dash is the easiest method, so if you go down here, you can wave dash off of there and then dash into Battlein. And that's more or less the fastest way to take the feather into her. But then there are also two ultra dash strats where you ignore the feather. And one involves ultra dashing off that green block, bunny hopping off of this platform, and then dash jumping into Battlein. Like that. And that's kind of a difficult strat, but it's not the hardest strat for this room. The other ultra dash strat involves actually doing two ultra dashes, and it's the fastest strat for the room, but it's extremely hard. So what you need to do is you need to reverse wave dash off of the blue block, then ultra off the green block, and then ultra again to ignore the feather. And it's a very input heavy but fast strat that some of the top runners use. So that's the fastest strat for the room. You get a ton of ultra momentum, and if you do those ultras optimally, you can just you don't even need to dash upright or dash jump. You can just bunny hop straight into her, basically. So if you get all of the ultra momentum that you can, the bunny hop from this block will send you straight into Battleland. And then you might have to do an upright dash at the end to hit her, but it's an extremely fast moving strat if you can get it consistently. The hard part is doing both of the ultras and lining them up correctly, especially since you have to start with a reverse wave dash after hitting Battleland. But regardless of which strat you use, and I still find the easiest strat that's still pretty fast to be that, where you wave dash off of that from the feather and hit Battleland. Right here, you're going to dash down right, and you're probably going to brush against the platform again, so you're going to want to dash down out of the room. From here, you want to wave dash off of this platform, and then dash down into Battleland. So you have to make sure you clear the spikes first, and then dash straight down. And as long as you start moving to the left after you dash down, you'll hit Battleland, even if it doesn't look like you're going to. There are a few different strats here, though. One involves dashing through the crystal and then dashing into Battleland. And then you kind of like fast fall your way out of here, and then you hyper bunny hop into Battleland. I think the fastest way, though, is to dash straight down here. And then if you do just a quick hyper, you'll go under the crystal, and you'll hit Battleland without taking the crystal, and that lets you use the crystal in the next part. So after hitting Battleland here, you can dash down left, grab the crystal with your dash, and then dash down right. And that lets you fast fall to here. Once you land here, though, you're going to want to hyper bunny hop off that next green platform, and then if you want, you can dash upright into Battleland. And then it's another down right dash from here. From this room, if you just keep fast falling from the previous room, you don't even need to dash into the feather. You can just fast fall through it. If you just fast fall through the feather, that happens. And then you just want to maneuver around the laser, maneuver through here. If you die, you want to jump and then dash down right through the feather. But there aren't really any strats for maneuvering the feather through these rooms. You just have to practice it. After hitting Battleland here, you're going to want to dash straight down so that you don't have to wait to hit the ground. And then you can either like hyper to the end of the room, or you can hyper bunny hop off the screen platform here. So if you do a short hyper from here, you can bunny hop off of there, or you can just hyper like all the way to the end, which is slightly slower, but you won't have to worry about like the corners here or overshooting the block and hitting the spikes. Just doing a long hyper from here gets you to here. And then you want to wave dash off this block. You do not want to buffer a hyper in the next room, you just want to wave dash from here. So wave dash from here, and then if you just fall with the wave dash momentum, you don't want to hold space at all in this room, you just want to fall, and then you can dash upright to land on this platform here, and ignore that bumper down there. And then you want to walk off of this platform, dash forward to land on the bumper, and then the bumper should bounce you high enough to dash into Battleland. So you hit Battleland there. The death cycle is kind of awkward for this room, so you would have to take the bumper then. But after taking the first bumper, you can kind of do it the same in the death cycle. But you want to dash down into this platform to hit the ground quickly again. And then from here, you're going to want to hyper that platform and then hyper into the next room. And then if you just fall from the hyper momentum again, you'll go under this corner, and then you can try to dash forward to land on this platform. You might have to hop up though. But if you do just immediately land on this platform, you can dash upright into Battleland. And then you want to dash down right, and then hyper, bunny hop, wave dash, and then dash up into Battleland. And then you want to dash forward here. And then at this part, this is a part where you have to move really quickly to beat a cycle. But essentially you want to either jump and then dash through this first tunnel of spikes, or you can just jump right through it as long as you don't jump forward too much. And then you want to jump and then dash through the second gap. And just jumping over the first gap is slightly faster, and if you can do it consistently, it'll help you beat this cycle more easily. But if you have trouble just jumping over it, you can make it to the end by jumping and dashing. But essentially you just need to get the Battleland before her laser fires, because you should just barely make it when you reach the end. So she was just about to shoot me, but if you go quickly enough through these two gaps, you'll hit her before she fires. After you hit Battleland here though, you can dash down to the left if you do it correctly, but you might hit those spikes. So I would recommend just kind of falling and then dashing straight down once you're lined up with the hole. So dash straight down here and then be ready to wave dash in the next jump. So you wave dash off of here. If you go further forward before you ultra, you can ultra to battle in, and then you would want to dash down left immediately. So dash down left, and then take the crystal and dash forward into battle in. Instead of dashing to cancel the recoil, you want to wall jump to cancel the recoil here, and then dash down right to battle in. And then after hitting battle in here, there are a few different things you can do. One thing to do that you can do is fast fall, and then wave dash off the crumple block down there, and then dash into battle in. Or you can wall jump to cancel the recoil, dash down right into the crumple block, and then dash jump to battle in. And if you dash jump a little too late, you might fall off the platform, so you need to be quick. Or actually, you can't dash jump, you have to jump and then dash, sorry. But after hitting battle in here, you can either dash down right, or you can just fast fall. And then there are a few different strats at the end here. So probably the easiest strat is just to fast fall here instead of dashing down right, and then dash forward through the first set of spikes. You can dash through here, hyper bunny hop, and then dash up into battle in. Another thing that you can do is you can land on sort of a corner before the spikes, and then hyper bunny hop to battle in. So you can land on this corner, and you can dash down right and then land here, or you can fast fall and then reverse, and then land here. But you want to land here, you want to hyper, and if you do a short hyper, you'll fall low enough to get through the first gap, and then you can bunny hop off the middle green platform and then dash up right into battle in. But you'll notice I went too far there. So kind of like that, you can preserve more of that hyper momentum if you do the bunny hop better. But the fastest strat involves a reverse hyper or reverse wave dash into an ultra, and it's actually a lot more consistent than it looks. So if you either if you dash down right after hitting the second to last battle in, you're gonna have to land on that corner and then do a reverse hyper. Or if you fast fall, you can do a reverse wave dash off that corner, and then it's a ultra down right, you bunny hop off of that middle platform, and then you dash up right into battle in. And it's actually pretty consistent. Like it's not too hard, so you can try it if you want. But you want to maneuver to the left a little and then dash straight down to here. And then this is where you start entering into sort of phase 2 of the battle and fight, which is short, but it's also the hardest part. So you're going to have to go for some tougher strats. Here, you're going to want to dash down right and then dash forward into battle in. Like that. And then from here, you can dash down right onto this platform, but you might end up dashing into a corner. Like you can dash down right onto here, then you can hyper, like do a short hyper. You can bunny hop off the water and then dash forward into the spring, which will carry you into battle in. Like that, and you don't even need to dash forward into the spring actually. But if you get the correct height from the bunny hop, you can then dash forward into battle in. Another strat that you can do is you can dash forward here, and then you can bunny hop off the platform before the spring and then dash up right into battle in. And that also works, but is slightly slower. After hitting battle in here, you want to dash forward, and then if you land on the left side of this platform, you can extended hyper and then ultra. But if you land on the right side of it, you have two options basically. You can do a short hyper and then fast fall into battle in, like this. Or you can do a reverse hyper into ultra. And doing the forward ultra is the fastest method if you can land on the left side of the platform. The reverse hyper into ultra is just ever so slightly faster than the hyper though. When you hit battle in here though, you can dash forward to land on the green platform and then hyper out of the room. But what's slightly faster is to actually dash straight down and you want to hyper and water boost at the same time. So if you dash straight down here, you'll land right here, and trying to do a hyper out of here will get you over this corner, but it won't get you out of the room. But if you hyper and then immediately water boost after the hyper, it'll launch you out of the room because the water boost will give you enough height to exit the room. So essentially what you do is you hyper, and instead of just pressing your main jump button, you want to press both of your jump buttons essentially at the same time. So if I do it correctly. Like that. So the water boost gives you the height you need to exit the room. And you skip the cutscene here, it's just a hyper, a bunny hop, and then an upright dash into Battleland. And you have to do it immediately so that the falling rocks don't kill you. And then you want to dash forward from there. You might not always get enough distance from the forward dash to land on this platform. You might hit this corner first, in which case you'll have to hop up. But you want to walk out of this room, you don't want to hyper into it. So you want to walk into here, and then what you need to do is you need to hyper off this block at a very specific point during this travel. So you need to step onto it, and then if you hyper off of it at the correct time, it'll launch you right into Battleland. Something that I do that for whatever reason I find makes it more consistent is I jump past the block and then reverse wave dash off of it. Like, that gives me the consistent timing and then just makes it come down to getting the reverse wave dash correctly. So I do that, and sometimes that'll make me go under Battleland, but since I get my dash back from the reverse wave dash, I can dash into her at the end. Like that. And I find that more consistent just because I don't have to worry about timing it, because the jump kind of sets up the timing for me. But you might just find it more consistent to just hyper off the block. From here, you want to wave dash or extended hyper off this platform, and then dash into Battleland. You can also ultra into that rising blue block right there, but I don't think it's much faster. You want to dash forward here, hyper to Battleland, and then dash down right. When you land on this platform, you want to hyper from here to the third platform, which will be rising at this very moment. And you want to do a sort of medium height hyper off that last block, because if you hyper too short, you'll hit a wall, and if you hyper too high, you'll hit a fireball. So I just barely went low enough to dodge a fireball, but you need to get the correct height out of that hyper in order to get between the wall and the fireball, so you land on this platform. But from here, it's just a bunny hop and then a dash into Battleland. From here, you want to dash down right, and then you can hyper and then corner boost off that wall to get into the next room. Or what I do is I just jump and then I wave dash off of the platform before I enter the next room. And then you need to wave dash off of this first raised block, and you need to land on the second raised block, slide off of it, and then dash upright into Battleland. And it was hard to do on that cycle. So. And if you miss that second blue block and you don't slide off of it, you'll just land on this green block, in which case you can jump and hit Battleland. But I'll try doing the version where you... Yeah, that works. And then you want to land on this ascending block right here, and you want to wait for it to move all the way to the top, and you want to wait for it to stop moving, because you do not want to get a momentum boost off this block. You want to wait for this block to start moving so that you can hyper over this spike in front of you, and then go in between those two spikes at the end. And you can kind of take your time with that, like you don't want to wait too long, but if you're gonna have to wait for this rising block to hit its peak either way. So even if you're a little slow with that hyper, it's okay to play it safe because you have to wait for this block anyway. But when this block starts to ascend, you want to jump when it reaches its peak so you get a momentum boost, and then you want to dash forward to Battleland. And then you can dash down left here. You're not going to hit those spikes. So you can dash down left here and then fast fall out of the room. And then if you enter this transition on the very left or the very right side of the transition, you can just fast fall to the right into the feather. Otherwise, you're going to land on this platform, and you should just walk off the edge and dash down into the feather. And if you do fast fall into the feather, you can dash down to the left to take the feather a little further. But if you land on this platform, you just dash down. And if you dash down into the feather, you don't have to worry about these spikes here. You're just going to avoid them. You want to dash upright as soon as you can to escape the feather, though, and then you want to land on Battling. And you can try corner boosting here, but it doesn't really matter. After you hit Battling here, though, you want to fast fall and then dash into her again. And when you dash into Battling after this one, you can dash down to the left to cut a corner, or you can just keep fast falling and then dash left to be a little safer. So you can dash down left there, but if you dash too early, you die to a spike. So you can cut a corner there by dashing down to the left, but it's a little precise. So you can just keep fast falling and dash to the left if you want. After you hit this Battling, you want to start fast falling again, and you can cut another corner by dashing down to the right, or you can just fast fall and dash to the right. And this corner is even harder to cut than the first one because Battling's a little further away. But you want to dash forward here, and then the moment you're above that hole, you want to fast fall to this block down here. And then on this block, you can just take this block to the very end, jump off it to get momentum, and then dash into Battling. Or you can jump off it a little sooner if you do a reverse dash jump and then dash into Battling. Like that. So that was a reverse dash jump, and that let me dash off the block without waiting for it to move all the way to the right. If you don't reverse dash jump, you're going to have to wait for it to move all the way to the right. And you can do an extended dash jump forward to get off of the block, but that might end up sending you too far to the right and you'll miss Battling. So doing the reverse dash jump is actually a little safer. If you have trouble inputting reverse dash jumps, though, I would recommend not going for that because it's a very small optimization. But after you hit Battling here, you want to just do a bunch of fast falling, evade the platform, so that you can then just dash left into the bumper. You want to evade this platform, and then you might want to stop fast falling to make the bumper easier to dash into. You can stop fast falling here, and then you're going to want to try bumper boosting off that bumper so you can get the Battling sooner. After you hit Battling here, you can either wave dash off this platform, or you can dash straight down and then do an extended hyper. And doing the extended hyper makes it a little easier to get some coyote distance off this platform. Like that. And if you do get enough coyote distance, you can dash upright over these spikes. If you don't get coyote distance, though, like if you do the wave dash, you can just bunny hop off the platform at the start of this room and then dash over. And they're both pretty much the exact same. But you want to fall to this feather. You don't want to fast fall because fast falling will cause you to go down a little when you hit the feather. But you want to hit this feather, and then this is one of the longest rooms in Reflection, so it's a pretty hard one, but you just don't want to die to the laser. They want to take this feather. You can go up or down here. It might be slightly faster to go up, actually, since you don't have to do as much rotating with the feather. Like, you're already moving upright here, which means that you don't have to turn to keep going up, but you would have to turn to go down. So you go slightly faster if you go up, but it doesn't matter too much. You can go either way. You want to grab this feather, and then this laser is going to be aimed right at you, so you have to move down a little to dodge it. And if you maneuver perfectly with that feather before this one, you can hit this feather without exiting the one before. But again, with keyboard, it's harder to do, so you might just want to dash into this feather. And then you want to give the laser maybe a little bit of time. If you do have to dash into this feather, you won't be able to make a fast cycle in this room, so you're going to have to get the laser to go a little low, so that when you dash into the bumper, you go over the laser. If you try going to the bumper as soon as possible, the laser might hit you on the way down. If you do manage to grab that feather without dashing into it, though, what you can do is you can bumper boost off that bumper and then ultra to evade the laser before it hits you. And that's the fast cycle. It lets you skip one laser. But from here, you're going to want to extend a hyper and then dash up to the wall. And you might want to wait for this laser to pass just so that you don't have to worry about that cycle. But you can climb up this wall and then dash off of the wall before the laser fires if you're quick enough. And if you get the fast cycle, you can pretty much get that for free. But from here, there are actually a lot of strats that you can do to hit those springs there. One method is to do a very short hyper off the left side of this platform, and that will get you to the spring if you do a short enough hyper. Like that, and then you can dash into Battlein, and in fact I can just keep demonstrating these techniques even after I hit Battlein. So that's one strat. Another strat is to extended hyper off of here, and then dash down right into the spring once you fall low enough. So you can even brush against this wall a little, and then dash down right into it. You can also extended hyper and ignore the spring. If you fall under here, you can just dash upright into Battlein. But dashing into the spring is pretty much the same speed because the springs give you a lot of momentum to go into Battlein. The fastest method, though, involves an Ultra. And you can, if you stand on the left side of the platform and extended hyper, you can do an Ultra if you time the Ultra correctly. You have to do a very quick Ultra or else you'll bump into that wall. And if you have trouble doing the Ultra and timing it correctly, you can wave dash to give yourself a little more positioning to the left. So you start a little further to the left if you Ultra with a wave dash and if you do with an extended hyper. And you can also land on the middle of the platform and then do a reverse hyper and then Ultra. But doing the Ultra is the fastest way to get to the spring. So if you can find an Ultra strat that works for you, you should probably go for that. Doing this like short hyper isn't too bad either, but I find that it quite often causes me to bump into that wall. And probably the most consistent method is to extended hyper off this, dash down right, and then dash upright into Battlein. But that is the slowest method. But you need to find one that works, and that works consistently, because you don't want to take too many risks in this room, because it's one of the longest rooms in Reflection. Probably the only room in Reflection that could cost you more time than dying in this one is the one with Ravine. But of course that one has a checkpoint that you can take to mitigate the risk. But after you hit the Battlein here, you can dash forward to land here, and then you can hyper into the next room. You want to land on here from the hyper, so you can hyper to here. You can either do 2 short hypers, like 1 to 2, to land here, or you can do 1 long hyper to land here. And then you can extended hyper and then Ultra to the cutscene if you delay your Ultra a little. And you're going to want to skip this cutscene quickly. If you accidentally retry there, it'll actually just respawn you at the cutscene, so it's not too risky to try skipping the cutscene quickly. But after you land here, you now have 2 dashes. So you can dash up and then wall boost off this left wall. And then if you do an up and then left dash from the transition, you can land on this platform, or you can just do 1 up left dash from the transition and then hop up onto the wall. And then from here, you can, if you land on the left side of the platform, you can extended super or extended dash jump and then wall boost off the left wall, or off the right wall, and then wall boost off the left wall. Or you can just like do 2 up dashes and then hop up. And also extended hyper, dash up, and then wall boost off this wall. But I find the easiest method, which is a little slow but is pretty consistent, is just to jump, or jump, dash up left, and then dash up and wall boost. And then you can just do a wall jump to land here. From here, you want to wall boost off this wall, and then wall boost off this wall, and you don't want to wall boost to the right. If you just wall boost and just go straight up, it'll line this second wall boost for you. So you don't need to move left or right after the first wall boost. The height from this transition will be enough for you to extend the dash jump off this platform here, and then you want to dash up and then up right, or you can dash up right and then up to land on that platform. Like that. And you want to make sure you land on this platform to get your dash back, because if you jump too soon, what can often happen is you'll accidentally wall jump off this green wall, and then you won't have your dash. So you need to land here first. And then right here, you can do like a reverse dash jump if you want. And then wall boost off the left wall, and then wall boost off the right wall. And then wall jump. What I'd recommend is just jump, dash upright, and then wall boost, and then jump to the left. as that's a little easier to do than a reverse dash jump. But you want to land on that platform on the right anyways, so if you get enough height out of this wall boost, you can just land on that platform without having to climb up. Like that. And from here, you can either wall boost off the left wall or wall boost off the right wall. I think it's slightly better to wall boost off the right wall because that gets you to the middle of the screen, which is where the last gap is. You want to jump here, dash up to the green wall, and then dash up again and do a wall boost. And if you get full height from the wall boost, you'll land on here. If you want, you can also wall boost first and then dash up, but you're more likely to have to climb if you do it like that. So if you just do 2 up dashes along this wall, it's easier to get enough height to not have to climb. And if you land on this platform, you're pretty much just already lined up to do 2 dashes and wall boost off of here. If you use the wall boost off of this wall though, you would hop up here, and then you dash upright and then wall boost and go here. But that's why it's a little faster to wall boost off this wall, because landing on this platform lets you dash up twice, instead of landing on this platform where you have to dash diagonally first. And doing 2 up dashes from here will also land you right here. But when you land right here, you just jump and dash up twice. And then the moment you hit the ground here, skip the cutscene, and you're done with Reflection. So Reflection is actually the second longest chapter in the game. Like, it's not as structurally complex as Resort, but it is still a pretty long chapter because of how long the boss fight is. So you might want to have to practice those 2 parts separately, like the first half of the chapter with all of the Kevins and feather movement, and then practice battling. But the key to practicing battling is that you need to be going as fast as possible, because the faster you go, the fewer opportunities she has to attack you. And that's why you need to get really consistent cycles with battling. It's kind of similar to the Oshiro fight in the sense that if you go too fast or too slow, you might not get the cycles you want. So you're going to have to practice that part extra. But with practice, you should be able to get sub 7s eventually, and then maybe even aim for sub 630s. And maybe like a final goal is sub 16 or sub 615 or even sub 6. But sub 6 is really hard to get. So yeah, that's Reflection. And I'm going to go over Summit next, which is the longest chapter in the game. So that might be multiple episodes, but I'll see you then later.